Good morning, everyone. This is the second day of the MIGS 2017, and this morning, it's very early, 9:30, 9:35. We'll talk about tournament, but more specifically, esport challenges and opportunities of a competitive game. I'm Michael Dodignon, marketing director of this technology here more in North America, and I'll speak, about these challenges and opportunities of a competitive game to show you, what could be done and what shouldn't be done, when you're creating a competitive game, with my knowledge and expertise, because I've been working in the esports industry since 17 years now. So in Europe and North America, organizing dozens and dozens of events and competitions. Toornament is part of the Webedia group. And Webedia is an online group leader in digital entertainment. We have more than 50 sites and applications with 100 million monthly visitors on our network. So we are the first European media for video games. You may recognize some of the brands there. IGN, for instance, we have the license of IGN in different countries, Brazil, Spain, etc., France. Jeuxvideo.com is the French first media for video games as well. GameStar is more in Germany, etc. And we are considered the third biggest multi-channel network after Disney and Warner, I believe. So we have a lot of talents, Twitcher, YouTubers like Squeezy or Syndicate or whatever. And I believe we are gathering around 3 billion views on our network monthly. So let's talk about esports. Esport, what is it? I believe here, I don't know how familiar you are, but just a brief history, how it took off and how it started. For me, the starting point, I chose 1972, the first Space War tournament. Maybe there were some other before, but let's say that was really a concrete tournament there. 1980, Space Invaders Championship. And then Nintendo World Championship, and you may have heard about it again this year, 2017, because they did it again, the Nintendo World Championship. And at that time, so 1990, they were doing Super Mario Bros, Rad Racer, and Tetris. Then we have pioneers like the CPL, Cyber Athlete Professional League, which doesn't exist anymore, unfortunately, but it's all started in 1997 with Quake and Counter-Strike. And then we have two others that still exist, ESL, Electronic Sports League, which are doing so since 1970, a lot of tournaments, a lot of big events live. And then we have the ESWC, which was called Esports World Cup when it started. Now it's Esports World Conventions. So it's all started beginning of 2000s. And the growth, the explosion of esport, is because definitely of League of Legends and Twitch, so the streaming capability. And then the League of Legends Championship Series started in 2013. And this is where we saw a big explosion of esport audiences and competitions as well. And so to me, an esport, what is esport all about? It's multiplayer games, with tournaments, with a lot of players, definitely, and spectators, the audience that watch these games, If there is no audience, then it's maybe competitive game, but not necessarily esport, So that's where I draw a line in my mind, So the esport benefits now, what does esport brings? It brings promotion, definitely, because you're promoting the game, the title, the IP. Then you create retention. Players that want to compete, they will play your game again and again to be better and to be better at the next competition. If they don't win the first competition or second competition, they will be retained and they will play again and again to improve their skills, okay? And then you create storytelling. Why? Because this player or this team that hasn't been so good at the first competitions then become better, and then you have a great story to tell, and compelling story to tell, and where these players are from, okay, where did they qualify, or how did they qualify to be there in that specific competition. So you have great stories to tell, and media love these kind of stories. And then you can increase the average revenue per user. Definitely, because a player that is very engaged, okay, and retained in a game because he plays or she plays again and again, she or he may be more likely to pay, okay, something and to buy some stuff. New revenues, definitely, and the amplification as well when there are some influencers, some talents that are talking about the game, or media that are talking about the great stories I was just mentioning just before. So all these benefits, I chose some examples or some visuals to illustrate that. So a marketing tool to raise awareness of a game. This is an example of Trackmania event at the ESWC, for instance. Then retention, so you keep your community active and motivated, okay, to play and engage again and again. This is a Clash Royale example on this is a cell phone mobile game on tablets as well. Then you can increase your average revenue per users. As I said, players will more likely spend money so on different kind of stuff. They can sell them, and new revenues. Why? Because you have the possibility to create offline events, like so the ticketing will be a new revenue stream for you. New money, in-game as well. Sorry? Okay. And storytelling. So this is an example of the Just Dance World Cup. Ubisoft is organizing that since a few years already, and they can tell and share stories about these amazing players. This is, for instance, Diego in the middle, red shirt. He was the winner of, I don't remember exactly, but 2015 or so. He was the world champion at that time. And Dina, she's a French girl who was just second in the world. So this is these people are sharing their stories. Media are loving, local media. Sometimes the French media love following, Dina, while Brazilian media love following Diego, for instance. And so there is compelling stories to tell about them, and tell these kind of stories. And this talks a lot about the game, because then media talk also, what is all this game about? Okay, Just Dance, you have to move, there is a choreography, etc. So they do promote the game literally for you and for free. That's the thing. And the amplification then, because you create a buzz about the game beyond its community. So you see there, thousands of people gathering, cheering for their team. And that's how you create amplification. That's an example. So to my mind, okay, you should not make an esport game. You should develop a great multiplayer game. You should provide the tools to your community, and you should assist your community to create the esports scene. And I'll develop these three key elements in the following slides, because I believe this is very important, okay, to make sure first that you have a great competitive game. Okay, this is a great multiplayer game, and then provide the tools to the community, and I'll explain how you could do that. Rocket League is a great example of following these three key steps. First, they created an awesome multiplayer game. That's very funny to play. It's very addictive when you know how to kick the ball with your car. Then you're like, okay, that's look easy. That's like soccer. Okay, I get it. But when you want to really master that, then you're like, okay, I have to practice that. It's not that easy to catch the ball, okay, when it's flying, you know. And so this is great, and you like that. Then they provided some tools to the community to customize some stuff, making sure that there are some competitions for challengers, for pro. So they put that into place, making sure that the community had access to some competitions and in several levels, okay? So that when you're getting to a competitions, if you're not very good, you won't be very excited to compete with pro level players, because you know you have no chance at all. So if you have a challenger league instead in your country or in your city even, then you're like, okay, maybe I have a chance. Maybe I have a chance to get somewhere in the competitions and not to be eliminated right away. So that's very important, and they did great there again. And they are supporting their community. They are helping organizers all around the world, making sure that they are using best practices to organize their own competitions. So they are there for their community, and that's also very important. That's that's something that is very important to me and for the community. So I'd like to explain a bit more about the different levels of multiplayer gaming, and I'm not talking about the necessarily of a amateurs level, a pro level, etc., but more from a in-game competitioning, okay, in-game perspective. Usually competitive games go up to the ladder, okay? So you have free play, you can play against somebody you don't necessarily know against who you are playing, okay? You don't get to choose your opponent, but okay, so you play and you can enter and go away, doesn't matter, this is the non-ranked stuff, okay? Then you have matchmaking, and sometimes this is ranked, because there is a clear victory condition there. This is not so nice to go and quit during the match, because then the match is over, and this is not necessarily good for the other opponents, for the other player. So, and then you have the ladder, and usually game studio, game publishers integrate that into the game, okay? These three competing multiplayer levels, so which we call competitive. And the player engagement and orientation goes up, okay, definitely, because when you see your name or your nickname in a ladder, you want it to go up, okay? So you're getting there, and you're making more matches, okay? And so this is a way of retaining, okay, the players, definitely, and this works, but this is not enough anymore, okay? We need something more. And that's why we need tournaments, real tournaments, and circuits of tournaments, because player, as I said, if you have only one ladder or even a ladder per country, okay, this is better than nothing. This is better than a worldwide ladder, because your name is really, starts usually very low and you don't see it. But in a tournament, if it's a local tournament, you see, you have more chances, because less people will compete in that. The level will not be necessarily the same. So the more chances you have to compete, and the more chances you have to be better and see your name a bit upper, then the more excited you are, and the more engaged you become, definitely. So to me, a tournament is the heart of the sport, and several matches defined by a tournament rules, okay, and structure. So structure to me is either single elimination, double elimination, or Swiss system, etc. So you have to be precise. You have to explain to everyone, okay, this is how we're gonna play. this is what we're gonna play in that structure, and this is why, this is how much time it's gonna take, etc. So it takes several hours usually. Okay, you just don't play and go after a match or 2 or 3 matches. It's very involving. So you get very much engaged there. So that's why I believe the engagement and retentions goes up there when you're providing tournaments. And then a circuit, this is even better, even bigger, because if you qualify, so for instance in Montreal, and then you get to participate in the next tournament in Quebec for the entire Quebec province, and then you get to participate in the Canada tournament, and then in the World Championship. You see, this is even better for you, because you see as a player, as a competitive player, you see your name okay, everywhere, and you know you have some chances to be better, and so you play again and again, and you practice the right way. Okay, so that's where you create great stories there. So so I believe this is true esport. Okay, so that's how I make, you know, this fine line between competitive, okay, and esport, because there on tournaments and circuit there is definitely, to me, chances that you have an audience, but on the ladder usually you have just the players. Okay, so they do get engaged, but this is not necessarily esports to me. All right. And different types of tournament. Okay, I was talking about challengers leagues and pro leagues, but there is even amateurs, okay, where this is a fun tournaments where there is nothing to win, or not necessarily something to win. And I believe this is the grassroots, and the, you know, where players get to know the games and get to enjoy, okay, this is how you play, and they get a feeling on what it is to compete on that game. Okay, so I believe this is the starting stuff. The fun tournaments are very key for the community to understand and get bigger and grow. Okay, then we have the competitive players that will want to be you know, in some qualifiers somehow, with maybe some cash prize or prices in general. Okay, but not necessarily huge stuff, but there is. So to me, these are community tournaments. And then you have the pro levels, where okay, professional with top players and teams, large prize pools, etc. So I just made some examples on the lab just to show you what I'm thinking of. You know, just if you know one of these brands, then you can connect and you can understand, okay, what is this all about. And the traditional multiplayer happens, you know, in game, usually with the ladder or with you know, some free matchmaking, whatever. Okay, unranked or stuff. Okay. And now I believe that game studio, game publishers, okay, need to empower their community. And one answer is Toornament, the free and open platform that I'm representing today. So just a few information about that. This is a free and open technology, as I said. You can, you know, handle the registration process of your players and teams, and you can gather additional information as needed. Sometimes you have legal, you know, legal regulations that force you to, I don't know, have a certain age. So the players must be 13 and older, or 18 and older. Okay, so you can gather date of birth, for instance, to just check, okay, is that okay? Is that okay that these kind of players are registering to my competition? So this is really meant to everyone, to any kind of platforms, and you can create brackets, leagues, Swiss system, even multi-phases, okay, competitions. So you can start with a Swiss system, then go to a double elimination, and yeah, usually after a double elimination you have a winner, but you could think of different stages and different phases if you, as you wish, you know. And yeah, and we can manage and handle so more than 4,000 participants, so up to 4,096 participants. To me, is not necessarily a player, but it could be a team. Okay, so you can manage, imagine, a competition of 4,096 teams, you know, and each team could be composed of 5, 6, whatever, you know, players. And the pairing and placement, we have some advanced functions that let you do, so to speak, whatever you want, you know. So you could follow the good practices that we have built in, but you could also do your own stuff and see it the way you'd like, because, you know, you may have some data before from somewhere else, and you say, okay, this is my seed, and not necessarily let the software do that for you. Then to tell stories, okay, we need to share the results. We need to tell people, hey, this is what happens, or this is what is happening right now, and media will love that. So we have, first of all, a public page that's kind of a single standalone website for your tournament, okay? So you don't necessarily need to have your own website when you start. That could be very, very useful for people that just start that. And then in this public page, you have access to everything that is about your tournament. So if you put some streams, or, you know, if you're having a Twitch feed or a Facebook Live, whatever, you can input that with the link, and then people, on clicking on the watch, there is a watch button there, then they will see, aha, okay, this is the stream of that tournament, and can watch it live, because we are integrated with these kind of platforms. And then we have the TV module, which is a rich and smart automated tool that will show you all the results, okay, live, really. You put that on the screen, or you put that on an input of your stream, okay, and you can show that and display that to the audience, and you just let it be, because every time there is a result coming in, the TV will be updated live. So you don't have to do a thing, you don't have to refresh, you know, this F5 that we don't like when you're doing stream, or when you want to have that on a big screen somewhere in a location. So you don't have to do that. It's automated, and every time there is a result, boom, it's there, and you see the results coming in. You can provide an album photo from Facebook. So as soon as you put a new picture in there, it will be shown as well, and the rotation is automated, okay? And down at the bottom, you can have a Twitter feed that so to show some and display some messages from your organization to the audience and or to the participants. So this is very handy. And then we have widgets. The widgets come also automated, so you can just copy paste the one-line code from Toornament, and you can integrate the widgets very easily in your website when you have one, or you can provide this link or this copy paste to the media that want to follow your competition, and they will integrate the results then. And then it's easy for them to tell the story about your competition, because they have live the results, because every time they are refreshing the page, then they know and they see, aha, okay, this is where we are at. So, and sometimes they are just telling the story after it happened, so fine. Then all the results are there, they can tell and explain what happened, and usually they are focusing on some players or some teams because they are from their own country, okay? So that's not normal, okay, it's human. So I would talk about a Quebecer player more than I don't know, an American player here, okay? But the thing is, once it's there, and you just have to copy paste one line, and it's very handy as well. So you don't have to look everywhere and follow live necessarily the competition. And then we have the API, and the API you can do, I wish, so almost everything you can. So it's very easy to recreate a TV module or widget with your own branding. So let's say I am a game studio. I have done a great multiplayer game, and I want to give the community a branded widget okay, that shows the results, I can make it. I can create it because I have the knowledge, you know, at the game studio. Or I am an organization that I know how to code a bit, you know, PHP or whatever, or JavaScript, and I want to create my own widgets branded, so I can put that, I can do that. It's very easy. A few calls to the API, and I can create my own widget. Okay, and you can create live visuals, live overlays, for instance, with the results of the tournament, you know, so because you have all the data, so you can see tournament as a database that you can use for your live stream. And so you can create live overlays with the name or pictures of the two next teams or the two next players, and then you can show the last results of these two opponents. Okay, because this is what it's all about. You want to tell the story, and imagine your caster having all this information on the screen. Easy. Okay, this player or this team just came from the winner bracket, and now we see that this team came from the loser bracket, so this is going to be very interesting, you see, and blah blah blah. So and everything is live. Once you created the good script, depending on your needs, then it's there. You don't have to rebuild it every time. Okay, and that's it for me for today. If you have questions, I'm here. Okay, so thank you very much for attending it. Yeah, please.
I just find that last part very interesting because it almost it almost turns it into.
Yeah, you should go closer, I believe.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
better, closer.
It almost turns it into actual sports because that's what they have when you see a soccer game or you see a basketball game. They have those live overlays, and seeing that being able to be implemented so easily into streams and stuff is really cool. And being able to make your own is exactly what you need to make something interesting for players to watch and gives more personality to the game.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, thank you. Any other questions, or are you okay? So I'm available also after this session if you want to talk one-on-one, no problem. And I'll be definitely this afternoon at 1 p.m. We have an after charge competition. So this is a game made here in Montreal. So if you want to watch that, this is a 3v3, very cool. So yeah, it's a new FPS style because there are some people that are not visible on the map and that needs to crash the extractors, the energy extractors, and the others so are seeking and searching, looking for these, not to break the structures. So that's very funny to watch. Okay, so it will be at 1 p.m. at the Loto Quebec stage. Thank you very much.